He is right. And let's think about it. It's just common sense.
Ooh.
When a team drafts a player, right? The team, the organization, the fan base, they have one hope above everything else. It is that that player can help us win a championship. Being an all-star every year, getting us on national television, selling a bunch of merchandise, that's nice. But the one hope above all is that he helps us win a championship. That's why in 1975, when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar went to the Milwaukee Bucks and said, look, I want to go to the Lakers. The Bucks, yeah, they're heartbroken, but it wasn't as big of a blow. And they worked with Kareem to get him to L.A. because at least he had delivered that championship. That's why LeBron, when he left Cleveland the second time, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as the first time because why? He had delivered that championship. This is not to disparage what Shaq did. He never won it in Orlando. Or what KD did, never won it in Oklahoma City. But Shaq does say today he regrets leaving Orlando. And when we look back, we brought up nitpicking a segment or two ago. When you pick nits, it is one thing that means a little more to me when you won it with the team that drafted you. It doesn't trump everything else necessarily, but it is, I think, more impressive to win it with the team that drafted you because you didn't leave any unfinished business.
Listen, and what I would say is it all sounds good, and it's almost old school thinking. Like, that's the old era. And it's something that I actually like and I wish we could embrace. But at the end of the day, things change. It's not about it being personal anymore. And for a lot of the athletes, it's personal. Now it's about business. For owners, it's always been about business. The bottom line, we had Jack on a couple blocks ago, and Jack talked about it. Like Tony Parker, when you no longer can deliver for me, we're going to trade you. Bye. See you later. We're going to ask for more money. I'm saying that to say this because the other end of what Giannis is saying is, what if Giannis found his way in Dallas this year and he didn't go back to Milwaukee? He didn't stay loyal. And if they won a championship this year, we would be sitting here saying, oh, it meant more in Milwaukee? Well, yes, if it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Now, it doesn't matter, man. Like, Giannis, I appreciate it, and it shows, again, the international player's mindset and where they're at compared to the American player. The American player now is like, yo, what is best for me first? And the reason why is not a selfish thing. It's just matching the owner's energy. That's all the American players are doing. So whether Giannis wins a championship in Milwaukee, in Dallas, or any other team, it doesn't matter. You did a great job. It's a big feat to win a championship. Everybody wants to do it, and it doesn't matter where you do it at. You know what I'm saying? In today's era. Now, how you exit and how you handle your business, that matters. But if you handle your business right, Wilds, and you exit correctly, then it's not even a topic.
Okay, so I think it means more, Brandon, but at the same time, I recognize that you might be hearing from like 10-year-old Kevin Wildes right now. Because everyone's childhood is very powerful. Like, what sneakers do I want? Like, oh, I want Jordan 3s because I wanted them when I was 8. And what music do I like? Like, oh, I like vintage hip-hop. Like, just because that was my formative age. So, and when I was coming up watching the NBA, all the championships were won by the teams that they were drafted by. So Magic won with the Lakers, and Bird won with the Celtics, and Isaiah won with the Pistons, and Jordan won with the Bulls, and Pippen won with the Bulls, and Duncan and Robinson. So I do recognize it means more to me because that's the way I kind of like it. But I recognize that it doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it's always going to be, Nick. So if I'm 12 years old right now, and I've seen the Warriors super team win it, and I've seen the Lakers and AD win it, maybe this won't have the sort of romanticism anymore that it does with me just because the NBA has changed.
Liz, I think you and Brandon are both right to a degree. I totally support player empowerment. And today is the 11-year anniversary of the decision, which is really the fork in the road moment where the players truly started to take we are businesses ourselves model. Yep. So I get and I respect that. I also, though, respect that sports are stories. And the reason these shows exist is not only to break down games, but as part of the storytelling. And to build on Broussard's point, Giannis's entire path, you mentioned the draft. It's worth noting that Giannis was the 15th pick of that draft. He was not even a lottery pick. And you had countless teams that were rebuilding, and it was, by the way, a terrible draft. It was the Anthony Bennett draft. There's only one All-Star taken ahead of Giannis, and it was Victor Oladipo. You had a team that was rebuilding like the Celtics, who could have taken this 6 foot at the time, 9 freak from Greece. Instead, they took Kelly Olynyk. The Sixers, who were actively trying to draft projects, took 2 guys instead of Giannis, Nerlens Noel and Michael Carter-Williams. So it's the Bucks took a flyer on a guy a lot of teams said, you can't do it. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it doesn't matter. Again, you're going back to, why players in the past like, oh, this is why I have to stay loyal to this team and give a hometown discount. It's business, Nick. So, sports is about stories. Sports is about, all these other things. But what comes first is business. The NBA in 2020 racked up $8 billion, and that's 10% down because of what happened with your boy Maury in China. So it's like when you look at it that way, these players are like when you look at it that way, players are putting that business cap on first. So whether you draft me in the first round, second round, third round, doesn't matter. So what have I done today?
So, but here's where I disagree with that to a degree, and this is a big difference between the NFL and the NBA, is there aren't really hometown discounts in the NBA. All the superstars get the max. So, and Wilds pointed this out earlier, guys who leave often leave for less money because it gives them the better chance to win. And so for Giannis, who took the extension this summer, coming off the lowest moment of his career, it empowered the Bucks because they knew he was going to do it, to go get Jrue Holiday. It would be an amazing cap to what is this 8-year portion of his career. And Broussard, I think we can look at the last 10 champions and say which championships, all things considered, mattered the most. And, 1 through 10, I think for the most part, you'll agree with this list. LeBron's title in Cleveland, that's the team that drafted him. Now he left, but he came back. That title is far more valuable than the 2 he won in Miami. Dirk's in Dallas is special. Steph's first in Golden State is special. All 3 of those titles, and I think that would be your top 3 as well. It's the team that drafted you. It's the superstar, that kind of delivers on the promise. I would put Giannis winning a title this year in Milwaukee right up there, probably between Dirk and Steph, so it would be the new number 3. But unquestionably, it would be more important, if you will, than any of those other 7. The 2 Steph won with KD, the 2 LeBron won in Miami, any of those. To me, this would, without a doubt, be one of the most important titles of the last 10 years. And if Giannis this summer had forced his way to Miami, while for him it would be great, it wouldn't, to me, have the same historical importance if they had won the title.
That's a good list. Certainly 2016 is huge because of his history coming back from the 3-1 deficit, LeBron giving Cleveland the championship. I would put Steph's 2015 ahead of Dirk. I would move Dirk's back a little bit. It was great for Dirk, obviously. But when I remember that championship, honestly, I remember LeBron just kind of giving it away because he didn't play his game. Like you said before, he's gotten in his own head. He kind of melted down. So I think 2017 is bigger, too, than 2014. Duncan already had, 4 rings? So I don't think that was as huge. 2017, Durant's first ring, I would probably move up. But let me say this. Brandon, you keep bringing up business. And you're right. It's a business now for the players and the individual teams. But it's also a business for the entire NBA. Yep. And one thing that allows that business model to run is the hope of the moribund franchises. And what is their hope?
Oh, that's interesting.
The draft. I mean, that's the only hope. That we're terrible. We got no players. We're not close to the Lakers or the Suns or whatever. But we got the draft. And the hope is not I can draft Cade Cunningham or whoever the next star is so that he can become an individual star and leave. The hope is that he can make us a great team and put us in the championship mix and maybe win that championship for us. So that's something you can't ignore. I would say this, the best way to win a title, the best way to do it is what like the Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, and if Giannis wins this ring and wins more rings in Milwaukee, that's the ultimate. That you went to a horrible franchise or a team. Milwaukee wasn't a horrible franchise, but they were in a bad spot. Chicago was horrible. Detroit was horrible. And those guys led them to become dynasties. Then secondly, you got Magic and Bird who stayed put, but they went to great teams. I would put LeBron up with them because, yes, LeBron left, but Magic and Bird stepped into great situations, particularly Magic. And so LeBron had to create a great situation. But the ultimate way is I go to a horrible franchise like Jordan, Isaiah, and now Giannis and turn them into a champion.
No, listen, that's what you're saying is valid, and I actually love it. That would be a phenomenal story. But the reason why I keep bringing up the business of the player, because the business of the player is evolving. Yes, there's the money, but there's also lifestyle. Where do I want to live? LeBron James, you talked about today marking the 11th year anniversary of the decision. LeBron James, through that whole process, he was thinking about big markets. We were saying, is he going to New York? Is he going to L.A.? Media market. So players are looking at that. Players are looking at championships. I can take a little less today, but if I become a champion, if I become a Hall of Famer, now I'm making money for the rest of my life. People will be paying me for the rest of my life. So I get it, what you're saying, Chris. The story will be great, but I'm just saying the player's mentality is changing because the business is evolving. That's it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.